Thank you for inviting me to your campus, Dr. Vishwanath Karad and Mr. Rahul Karad. Thank you also, Dr. Chitnis and Director of SOMC, Mr. Dheeraj Singh, for asking me to address your talented students. And thank you, everybody from the dais, to have patience to listen to me for the next 10 minutes. I request the students, if, this is what I say to students every time I go to campuses, please, if you could give me the next 10 minutes. I understand you've listened to many speakers, but if you could put your phone down and lend me your ears for just 10 minutes and I'll be done saying whatever I have to. Believe me, it's very tempting, as Jawaharji said, that it's literally an extension of our body to have the phone in our hand, and sometimes more valuable than our spouse, as again Dr. Sarkar said. But just for some time, if you could let go of it, and if you know, look at the Karad family. They have had such a vision to build this place for you and to build this institution for you. If they didn't have the attention span to listen, to understand, to gauge, they couldn't have provided this for you. And you're gaining so much for it. So just learn from their experience, from the spiritual guidance that Mr. Karad gave, that Professor Karad gave just now. So learn from that, and just for a few minutes, if you could give me your time without your phone, I would be most grateful. The scope of the topic that was given to me is extremely vast, and I feel that I wouldn't do justice to it if in 10 minutes. So I would beg forgiveness and move away from the topic, because I'm sure your professors are teaching you about what the history of the media is. And frankly, I am more of a practitioner of communication rather than focusing on theory. The origin, scope, impact, all this is something that your learned professors would give. I do not have the capacity, nor do I have the intelligence to guide you on such matters. I wouldn't also want to repeat what they are probably teaching you. It's not my forte. So I dare not pontificate. And also there are my seniors here on the dais who know so much more about journalism than I do. So I do not want to talk about the philosophy and ideology of journalism, its history or metamorphosis. I would rather speak in general of what I have observed in the past 30 odd years that I have worked as a journalist, and I hope that it would give you something of a window into what journalism has been. When I got into the media field, the configuration of media was essentially state-owned television and radio. Again, state-owned television and radio was the only radio and TV that existed. And that changed with, and then there was the newspapers, which was in private hands. With economic liberalization, all that changed. It was mind-boggling, and I was lucky enough, like Rashid, to be at the cusp of that change. I belong to that generation whose parents would religiously listen to All India Radio and believe every word that was uttered. A speaker before me said that there was a lot of chain and sukoon because there was no noise. What All India Radio told you was what you believed. But even though at that time the news that came to you was conceptualized, was written, was presented by government officers. And this I'm saying with no respect to government officers, because mind you, my own father headed the news services division in All India Radio. So I know exactly what was going on at that stage. So it was the only source of information as far as radio and television was concerned. So yes, of course, there was no noise because there was only one voice. It was a one-way traffic. There was no interactivity, which you people have today. Doordarshan, even in its early years, as I said to you, was one-way street. Now you are empowered to cross-check, to choose. You have a choice. There is a disruption. That disruption, it makes people nervous. Who does it make nervous? It makes people nervous who were embedded in an earlier system, who are scared of change. And I don't mean this age-wise. There are some people who are even my age group, which is the 50s and 60s and even 70s and 80s, who are welcoming change, because change means noise. Change means disruption. Change means a kind of a value system which is being disrupted and a new one is coming, and to adapt to that. Each one of you is a broadcaster, as was said before. Each one of you is a satellite. You speak to us. You check us. You matter to us. That is the difference between the media of yesteryears and the media of today. The media in the 1970s didn't care what you thought. The media today, if it doesn't care what you think, will be out of the door. There is a multiplicity of platforms, and you are lucky to have that. We, on the other hand, are probably a little bit unluckier than our predecessors, because we have to keep checking, and checking is a difficult task. It means to be humble, to have humility, to understand that what I am saying is wrong. To have a young 18-year-old fact check me on social media and saying, "Arey kya bol rahi hai, galat bol rahi hai." It hurts. The ego hurts. That a young kid is correcting me. But that is where my humility comes in, and I say, yeah, she's right. I am wrong. I have to correct myself. That is the disruption I value, and that is the disruption I'm hoping that you bring. There are many who are critical of TV news today, that it's sarkari propaganda. That's an allegation that has been there for a long time, from the 1970s, mind you. We saw R.K. Lakshman's cartoons out here. We saw The Emergency. From that time onwards, and even before that, that allegation that sarkari propaganda is coming to you via television, via newspapers, is something that has always been there. And that is something that will always be there. Everything in life today is amplified because of social media. So when that kind of allegation was made in the 70s, 80s, 90s, that this is sarkari propaganda, that what you're hearing is just Mrs. Gandhi's voice, that it is Mr. Gandhi's voice, that it is just Mr. Gujral's voice, very few people knew of it, that there was annoyance. It was just because social media has amplified that annoyance that there is correction that is happening. And correction might take times, may take time. But the fact that it is being vocalized on social media, the thing that social media is just noise, कि शोर है, बेमकसद का शोर है, जो आपके दिलो दिमाग पे है, किसी काम का नहीं है, किसी के मतलब का नहीं है. This is what will be told to you regardless. Let me tell you something. To be relevant on social media, to have followers, to make a mark, you have to say things with a panache. कुछ धमाकेदार बोलो, कुछ ऐसे मजाकिया तौर पे बोलो, किसी को ट्रोल करो. And once you do that, you'll be noticed. So people say, हाँ भाई, हम कुछ ऐसे बात बोलते हैं कि लोग हमको notice करें. So you say this thing on Twitter, you'll get more followers. The media guest coordinators in television channels, they will sit up. The PR coordinators, many of you are going to be PR students. Just believe me, this is what you'll do. कि ये शोर मचाता है, चलो इसको बुलाते हैं for our media conferences because मजा आएगा. The sponsors of these media conferences say, हाँ, this person has 10,000 followers, has 1 million followers, इसको बुलाते हैं. The real person who has done research in a library, who is an actual gyani, who actually has something to share, but is not on social media, has not trolled anybody, has not said something sensational, उसको कोई नहीं बुलाएगा at conferences. बुलाएंगे उस troll को, बुलाएंगे उस शोर मचाने वाले को. Stay with me, I'm trying to make a point. I'm not ranting. So what I was saying was that this chatpata bolne wala person will get invited to conferences. The sponsors will pour in the money into those conferences. उसके बाद क्या होता है? उसकी कहानी वहाँ खत्म नहीं होती है. उसके बाद the political party sits up and says, ये तो बड़ा articulate है. ये social media पे भी है. ये तो धमाका मचा रहा है, सोशल मीडिया में भी कर रहा है, कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में भी कर रहा है. चलो इसको अपनी पार्टी में ले लेते हैं, इसको अपना स्पोक्स पर्सन बना लेते हैं. ठीक है, वो बन गया स्पोक्स पर्सन. उसका करियर ग्राफ यूं यूं जा रहा है. हाँ, ही इज बिकम अ स्पोक्स पर्सन. इन्फ्लुएंसर है और कुछ नहीं है. ही इज बिकम द स्पोक्स पर्सन ऑफ अ पॉलिटिकल पार्टी. उसके बाद ही गोज टू अ प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंसेस ऐसे, आए हाय ये सोशल मीडिया में देखो, बिना बेतुकी बातें करते हैं. देयर इज नो कंटेंट. वो उस जमाने की बात देखो जहां पे कंटेंट आता था दूरदर्शन पे. दीज आर द पीपल. So ये फ्रॉड्स को आप नोटिस कीजिए. जो शोर जरूर मचाएंगे of the good old days of yesteryears, लेकिन they are using the platform of today to make a noise, to make a mark for themselves. You have to decide when you listen, when you follow these people, what you are gaining from them. I'm not saying कि system गलत है. I'm no one to make these value judgments. You have to decide for yourself. ये जो शार्प शूटर्स, आज के जो शार्प शूटर्स हैं, चाहे ये आपके पार्टी के स्पोक्स पर्सन हो, चाहे आप न्यूज मीडिया में हो, जो शोर मचाते हैं वो ज्यादा सुने जाते हैं. बिलीव मी, इवन न्यूज वाइज जो ज्यादा, और अगर शोर नहीं मचता तो टीआरपी नहीं आता. सो यू हैव दी एंकर्स जो यूं 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 करके हाथ यूं यूं करके बोलेंगे. दोज आर द पीपल दैट यू लिसन टू. तो आप अगर मीडिया पे दोष कर रहे हो दैट मीडिया इज द वन विच इज डिवाइडिंग सोसाइटी टुडे, सुप्रीम कोर्ट से लेके पॉलिटिशियंस हम पे ब्लेम करता है दैट यू आर द पीपल हु आर स्प्रेडिंग हेट, यू आर द पीपल हु आर डिवाइडिंग. वेयर इज दैट हेट एंड डिवाइड? व्हाट इज द सोसाइटी टुडे? यू थिंक देयर आर नो फिशर्स इन सोसाइटी टुडे? लोग एक दूसरे को दे आर हगिंग ईच अदर? नो, दे नॉट. That hate that you are seeing on television screens is the hate which is being reflected from society. Let's change society. Let's change the way we are thinking. And then you'll see that reflection in media. I'm nobody to hold a flag for the media to say that the media is doodh ka dhula hua. No, it's not. We probably deserve the tags that we've been getting. The term that was used by Sarkar Saab, who said that it's a very dirty term. We were called prostitutes. उसके बाद शोर मचा कि मत यूज करो ये वर्ड. बट उससे पहले, बिफोर प्रेस्टिट्यूट्स केम, वाज माइनो मीडिया, कांग्रेसी मीडिया, और अब मोदी मीडिया. नथिंग इज चेंज्ड. उससे पहले देयर वाज इंदिरा मीडिया, उसके बाद देयर वाज नेहरू मीडिया. और ये किसने कहा था? फिरोज गांधी ने कहा था. सो what I'm trying to say is that this is nothing new. This is something that all of you will face. Develop a thick skin. You think it doesn't come my way, it doesn't come the way of Rashid, it doesn't come the way of all other journalists. Nupur Sharma case is a case in point. So it comes for all of us. We develop a skin as thick as an alligator. And women in the media, you guys who are going, girls who are getting into the media, let me tell you, we need to be thicker skinned than the men. My time is running out, but just give me a few more seconds minutes before I conclude. That, you know, when you women get into the media, please remember that the workplace today is a much safer place, but doing journalism today is much harder simply because there's a whole bunch of problems, legal problems that have occurred. FIRs are being lodged against us in the media in various places. Fortunately, the Supreme Court has come and said clubbing of FIRs should happen. But those of you who are getting into journalism, please get some legal background, legal information, legal training also. Those who are going into the legal training, please help us out in journalism because we need your support too. Rashid has rightly said that conflict TV mirrors the conflict in life. We saw this happening with the Nupur Sharma case. We are seeing this happening day in and day out. So all I can say is that having worked with foreign broadcasters, I see that there are many even now who would rather believe a New York Times, a Washington Post, and even an Al Jazeera when they report about India. Be lucky enough that we have so many Indian newspapers. Today, just a little bit more I will speak. The entire population of England is about 70 million. Do you know how much our population of just people who have television sets is? 220 million households that have TV. In spite of that, BBC holds sway in this country. I just want to know why. I have nothing against the BBC, I work with them. But I just want to know, why is it that we believe in the foreign medias reporting on India? I'm hoping that students, you will be lucky enough to tell the Indian story to foreigners soon enough. And the reason why I'm saying it is because their view about India is biased. They come with preconceived notions, and I've seen this from the 80s when I began reporting, whether it was Kashmir, whether it was the Babri Masjid episode, whether it was our riots, whether it was anything. It is colored. It comes with a view. Whereas you who believe in nationalism, I'm hoping you will not paper over the lies, and you will present the truth, but you will present the India story. Which other country's broadcaster does program in 23 languages and 179 dialects? It is our country, and you are lucky enough to be able to do that. In every country, the printed word is dying. The newspaper is dying, but not in our country. We have newspapers in 22 major languages. There are 900 satellite television channels. So there's a lot that we can do. When Rashid and I worked in newsrooms, it was completely different. There was a slower pace of life. Today, it's 365 days, and it is 24/7. If you are ready to do that, if you are not thinking about a work-life balance, because none of us have that, if you are committed and have a passion, then get into journalism. Otherwise, there's always LIC for you. I'm saying this because I want in you a junoon, a jazba in journalism. Otherwise, don't get into this profession. Yes, as Rashid again said, I'm quoting him again and again, that we have no special privileges, but we have a duty. And I'm hoping you see this as a service that you will provide the nation, and you will take this forward, not just as a mere job, and there are jobs aplenty, believe me, but you will do something more than seeing this as a job. So as I conclude, I would like to say that keep your zest for journalism and zest for life alive. Think of doing something big, a desire to make this world and this country a better place. Namaste and Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Madam Smita Prakash ji. Thank you very much.